Welcome to the Naked Podcast. The Naked about the Naked podcast. Authenticity. Wow, what a starting point. The Naked about authenticity. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. I'm here with Matt, and we are not naked, but we are on the Naked Podcast. How are you doing, Matt, today? It's the worst intro ever.
Well, at least it's a live intro every
Yeah.
time. That was funny. I feel good. I feel way better in every aspect, physically, mentally, and having a good 10-minute laugh with you before recording is always super good. And we found headphones. The internet is working. It's like
Yeah.
we have to be grateful.
Yeah, I still need a
And you?
haircut, but it's like anyway.
Yeah, me too. Me too. The sides are really awful. Uh, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I had a really good weekend. A good Saturday of sport, which I like. I don't know. I like when I have my weekends with sport and everything's. Continue to prepare for the marathon, doing some discipline workout, as I like to call them, which is workout that are really annoying, but it's has to be done. It's the grinding before the last before the big thing, you know. So
When
so
is
yeah.
it?
It's this run where you have to be, we call that zone 2 training. So you have to run under 140 BPM.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that, you have really to control yourself. Because it means that you have to run at a pace where you're. Normally, it's a pace where you can laugh and talk and everything. So, but it means that it's way, way, way longer to do the same distance. So, a 10 kilometer, I do that naturally in 52 minutes. Take me like, by running like that, it takes me 1 hour and 2, so 10 minutes more. So I
Oh,
know it
okay.
doesn't. I know it doesn't
Yeah.
seem a lot, but it's just that it's you have to do that. You just have to do it. So it's it.
Yeah.
And you, how was the story with how is the saga going?
Yeah. The feedback from
How
last
is
week.
the
Uh,
telenovela from San Cristobal?
but just before, when is your big event, your marathon?
I'm planning the 26th of September in Madrid. Certainly,
Ooh,
I found this one. So
interesting. Interesting. Okay. Um,
so just a second.
yeah.
So last week we left Mathieu in a really big struggle because it was between love and hate with his how do you call it, Airbnb
Landlord.
renter, landlord, whatever.
Landlord.
So
Yeah.
now we know more after a week what Mathieu has done, what Jamie has supported this week. We will know it in the next episode.
That, yeah, yeah, yeah. I love when you do that. I finally, uh, so yeah, a little update about last week. When I got out of the podcast, I was really determined, and I looked. So basically, I took my phone, I re-downloaded all the app that I that I needed, like Airbnb, Booking.com, Hostel World, everything, and then I checked everything that was available just for a week, and also for like the next month and everything. And I did like a couple hour of research. Jamie was not there, so I found a couple things interesting, and then I was really motivated. I was like, if I think in abundance, I would not stay here. I would just find a hotel or whatever and just switch. Um, and finally, I can't remember exactly what happened, but I showed the thing to Jamie when she come back that night, and we looked at it together. Um, and then the next day, we have quite a busy week. So like the next day, she had something in the morning, and then in the afternoon we checked again. And to be honest, I don't really remember if we really took a decision. Um, but the decision I took was like, I'm not gonna let him do any more bad energy in our life. Um, so for the first 2 or 3 days, so basically it was Tuesday. So the first 2 or 3 days after that, I didn't really see him in the spot, and we were doing our thing. Everything was under control, was fine. Uh, and after that, I think I think he left for a couple days. So I don't know if he was also he didn't want to be there. I have no clue, but I think he left for a couple days. So and then we just did our thing. We felt okay with the fact of staying there. Like we haven't we checked all the possibilities, and nothing really hooked us up. Like nothing really. I was not drawn to go at any of these places. Even if we checked, we messaged a couple of them, and in fact we went out and we went to check a couple places. Yeah, I remember now. Uh, and finally, I'm not gonna tell you everything that happened, but the main thing that happened is that by going out and looking at places, we found that super nice spot for a month. So basically, we needed to stay in June here, so we were still we didn't know where would be going. So we found this spot, went there to visit it, talked with the guy, was really nice, and then but this spot like was straight on the road, so the sound was awful, the noise, I mean, and he said, "Oh, we have another spot that's really more quiet, and we are finishing apartment there, and you could come visit in like 2 days." So like, yeah, sure. The guy was nice. He talks English, everything. So we were like, okay, let's just finish our week here. Everything is fine. We just have a couple day more, and then if something happened, we'll deal with it. But now we focus on having a nice place for a month. So we did that, and then just before we were supposed to go see that place, I think Jamie didn't tell me, but she messaged back a, a place because a couple months ago we wanted to go out of Florida Vida, and we also visited a couple places at that time. And there was one place that Jamie really liked. Like she, I think she was pissed that I didn't say yes because she really liked this place. But the bed in the room was so awful. It was like the most awful bed. And the internet was not that good. So, and it was the same price as where we were. So I was like, I just felt I was be changing like 4 quarter for $1. Like at that time, I was like, nah, let's just not go. But then she messaged back and also we needed to sign a 6 month contract and bullshit. So I was like, no. But then she messaged her back and she said, we have a month that we need a place. Do you happen to have a place available? But because it's a place with many apartments. And then she said, oh yeah, we have a place that's gonna be free for June. And it's not the same room, the same apartment we visited. And then she sent picture, and it's like probably the nicest one in all the place. The bed is super. There's two bed, in fact, like they're super nice. A big. We have our own kitchen, the oven, everything, and the price, like for real, for what we get, it's another super deal. And Jamie was like, okay, we're coming to visit. So we went the next day. We visited that place, and like in probably 18 seconds we're like, okay, we're taking it. And and Jamie was so happy. So we found our place for the month. We're moving tomorrow. We were supposed to move out of Florida Vida tomorrow, and we start at the other place tomorrow. Like everything came out perfect in the end. Um, so yeah, that's the that's the update of the story of last week. Sorry for the 10-minute solo talk.
There is only one
Um,
thing that it says to me, which is trust the process.
yeah,
Trust
totally.
the process.
Well, that should be the topic of this episode
No,
because
it's because
we
your
had
story makes me remember like how we found this apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because we were visiting a lot of stuff also, and everything we were visiting was like whether too small, and the thing is that we are working both at home. We were flatmates, so we needed obviously rooms to sleep, but also we needed place to work. So you can, obviously someone can work on the living room, but the other person can't work on the living room, knowing that we have also like meetings and everything. So we went to visit a place somewhere. When we were there, because through a process and everything, we talked to a person. The person was French, and she told us, "Oh, I have this other apartment, available also. It's kind of new, blah, blah. Do you want to visit it?" We visited this one, and we were like exactly the same thing. Like in 2 minutes, it was like, "Yeah, we take it, we take it." So yeah, no, trust the process is the end of this thing. Yeah.
Well, I know we've done so many episodes now that I don't even know what we talked about or not. But yesterday, I really like the topic of trusting the process, or it's related to to having faith. And so basically, the from Thursday to yesterday morning, no, from Wednesday to Saturday, I got a stomach bug. Uh, Jamie got it too, but for some reason it was less long for her. So like big stomach bug, liquid poo, everything.
Nice.
Uh, yeah,
Bug life.
and like super low energy, not feeling well at all. So that was, the timing was really bad because I was already feeling like, not that I told you, like since a couple of
Don't you
weeks,
don't
and
you think
even
it's
like,
linked?
oh, everything is linked, man. See, I think I had to go down really, really low to rise up like I rose up yesterday. And yesterday, me and Jamie, I told her, we were in the afternoon. I was still in a mood like meh, and she wanted to do something, but I was still like recovering from my thing, and I was low energy and everything. And I said, look, we're leaving in 2 days. Why don't we go enjoy our rooftop one last time? It was sunny in the afternoon, so we went there, and we have this book, that this audiobook that we're listening to, which is called A Course in Miracles. And we just laid there, listened to the book, and after a while I just paused it, and I rose up, and I said, what the fuck is going on? Like, what's up with us? Like, not with us as a couple, but we're both personally, our vibration is so low. I feel that the past 2 months, like, or I don't know, like 5, 6, 7 weeks, whatever, I've been so low in my energy, in my vibe. So like I'm moaning all the time. Like I'm off. Like something is off. And she was also like that. And she told me, well, I meditate on that this morning, like talking about yesterday morning, and I couldn't find out. I have this weird feeling of like sadness, and yeah, like something was off. And then we started this process of just, and that I'm fucking good at. It's really weird because I can spend like 2 months feeling like shit, and for some reason I don't sit down to just listen to my heart. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
so good at listening to my heart. I know the language of the heart. I'm really good at that. And then I don't do it for some reason. But when I sit down and I fucking listen, the answers come straight away, man. Yesterday, in 2 minutes, we pinpointed what was the problem, and it just unleashed a burst of emotion, and a burst of like introspection, but also like wisdom, and just discussion about all that bullshit and that low vibe and everything that was going on. And you know what? The main theme of that was that we fell prey to fear. we fell prey to doubt,
About
and
what?
we lost faith.
About what?
Well, so basically, we were misaligned. Basically, in life, when your heart is telling you something,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't go in that direction,
Mm-hmm.
you become you start to become more and more misaligned.
Yep.
You, you you're like, I told you about the analogy of like the two boats, and like one is the mother boat and you're following behind, and the mother boat is like your soul and you're behind as yourself, and then the boat is basically your heart telling you the direction, and if you don't follow that, you get off and you get off, and at some point you're not in the current of the motorboat, which is super easy, and like it's easy to follow in that path. But if you go out of that, you're in the wave and it's complicated, and like you have to work more to advance, and so you become really misaligned. And I told you also that I felt that I had like no purpose. I felt
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah, we discussed a
something
bit
was
last week. Yeah.
really off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, something was really off, that I didn't know what to do. um, so that's exactly what it was. We were not doing what our heart was telling us because of all the worldwide campaign of fear that's happening right now. We fell
Mm,
prey to that.
sorry, which one?
There's-
Just to be sure we're on the same one because there is multiple right now. So just want to be sure which one
well,
you're
it's,
talking about.
they're all linked to only one. Like,
Money?
no. The worldwide campaign of fear about COVID, about all the restriction, the vaccine, the travel, like fucking like vaccination passport and shit like that, and like so basically, since a month or two, we were getting closer and closer to what we knew that we wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
but that our rational was telling us not to do because of fear.
Yeah, basically, like it was like, yeah, but how are we gonna do it because of a constraint that people are telling us?
Yeah. And because everybody talks about that, everyone around talks about that. So it's so hard to be strong in your faith in life. It's so hard to not fall prey to all the fear and the doubt, and seriously, what's happening in the world right now is so intense,
Mm-hmm.
so fucking intense. It's like a worldwide trauma
Yeah.
that's happening right now. And I lost faith. And you know what was really the problem? Because I'm not, I'm just talking around it. But the main thing was that my my purpose, my heart, what I wanted to do in my future in the next upcoming years is to travel.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. That's what my heart is telling me to do,
Mm-hmm.
is to travel. Okay. And I didn't know, and I knew when I talked about it with Jamie, but her. So basically, because of the wedding of her sister in September, we are going. Like the plan is to go there, and then we were our visa expired at the end of June, and we were like, well, we're gonna go visit Europe in the summer. But then with all like Jamie, she's like the best at looking like she's like, for me, when I'm really myself, I don't give a shit about all the restrictions, all the things, all the necessary things that you need to go in one country or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I just decide where my heart is telling me to go, and if it's at this place, I set up my mind that I'm gonna go there, and everything that I will need to reach properly my destination is gonna come to me in some way.
Yeah.
But So basically Jamie, she was checking like every week, like how the restriction were changing, and like what we would need to do to go to that country and whatever. And then she was just facing the facts in parentheses, that it was complicated to travel, that it was like a mess, that it was, and then that vaccine fear of like all that bullshit. And so we were not setting out to do what our heart was telling us to do.
Mm-hmm.
And me, my heart was telling me to travel, but travel is large. Like you still, I
Yeah,
still,
the famous "it's easy to go away." The question is,
yeah,
where do you go? Yeah, the
yeah,
famous
yeah,
one.
yeah. But not to go away, to go away, more
Yeah,
to discover.
yeah.
To I just feel that the next few years are for me to discover and to move around and to just discover this earth. And then I can, I mean, we're not 20 anymore. Like we may start thinking about having children at some point, whatever. And I know Jamie wants some and everything. So I know that I cannot travel for the next 10 years nonstop. Like at some point I will need to stop. And so for me was just I need to move. But we were talking about going to Guatemala because rationally it was the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was close to here. The restrictions were really low.
Mm-hmm.
We like, but that is not where our heart was telling us to go, especially Jamie.
Why?
And I said to Jamie, I said, look, if you had no fear, if there was no restriction, no vaccine shit, nothing, you had a bank account full, that all the time in the world, that there was nothing to no filter around what your heart would be telling you, where would you go at the end of June? And she looked at me straight in the eyes and she said, Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, that's the exact problem. The problem is we're not setting out to go to Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. If your heart is telling you to go to Italy, it means that's where you should be. It doesn't matter of all the rest. The rest is gonna align for you to be there because your heart is connected to the source of all information. And for some, we cannot understand that really. It's not a rational thing. It's hard to say like, oh, your heart, let's say it's your soul talking through your heart, whatever it is, it's connected to all the information in the universe, past, present, future, everything. So if it's telling you that, it means that's where you should go. That's where you're supposed to be. That's where you are in your perfect future.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to you have to stop and just work on your fate. Work on your fate, that that's where you should go. That's where you're going to go, and everything will work out for you. And then straight she started crying, like straight away. And I said, Jamie, when you listen to your heart and it gives you an answer and it makes you cry, that means that you listen properly. That
Mm-hmm.
means that it's really your heart that's speaking to you right now. And that's the language of the heart. The language of the heart is not just words, it's mostly emotion.
Cry or
If you
peace.
cry, think, yeah, if you cry thinking about a place, that it's because that's where you need to go. There's
Mm-hmm.
something there. And then she told me about the fact that she never missed 1 year in her life, never, that she didn't go to Italy. And now it's been more than a year that she's been. And I mean, she's half Italian. Her mother was from there. Her mother that's passed away, she's Italian. uh, she has so many friends there. Her happy place, like we all have a happy place, her happy place in her heart is in Italy. Like there was so many, and she wants me to see that. She wants to introduce me to there. And man, life can be so simple when you listen, and
Mm-hmm.
it can be so incredible. in a moment of 5 minutes of talking, my 2 months, my 2 month energy low, my 2 month weird feeling just totally crushed, totally snapped and switched. And I just felt it was right. I just felt it. I was like, that's what's not right. That's what's not going like it should be. It's because we're not following our heart because of all that camping of fear, all that. Like I wasn't, and we were talking about vaccine, and we were like, we don't want the fucking vaccine, okay?
Oh,
So we
you're
were like
anti-vaxxers.
going into that. It's no, listen to me, you'll see. Like I was like, I don't want the vaccine because I don't think I need it, okay? And she doesn't want it also. And yes, there are some, even if it's 1% chance, there's some risk associated with it, okay? So, and then we were like falling into that weakness and fear and whatever. And then okay, but like we're gonna like what we're gonna do, like we want to move, but at some point they're gonna probably ask the vaccine to travel, like you're gonna have a stamp on your passport, like whatever it is. And like all these tests and all that bullshit. And because of that we were backing off of where we wanted to go. But I told Jamie, I was like, if I really think about it, I'm like, if I have faith, like if I think that I'm blessed and protected and I have faith, and I'm fucking stronger than the vaccine. Like, what the fuck? Like, seriously. Like, what the fuck? I remember like maybe like 5 years ago, I went to my doctor, my family doctor, and I had like he's been my family doctor for like 30 years, and that's the same I had all the time, and he's super cool. We had a super nice relationship. He's retired now, and that sucks, but whatever. And then I went to him and he's like, "Oh, do you have your, your pamphlet? How you call that? Like the vaccination thing that you had when you were young, and
Yeah, when you're
the
a
little
kid, yeah.
booklet, like whatever." And then, and then uh, he's like, "Because now everything is digitalized, so just bring it to me, and we're gonna put everything in the computer, and now everyone's gonna have the information." And I'm like, no, yeah, sure, but I don't even know if I had it, to be honest. And he's like, well, do you remember what vaccine you had? And I'm like, I'm sure that like tetanus is like 10 years, I think, or something like
Tuberculosis.
that. So I'm like, dude, seriously, I don't remember last time I had a vaccine. They're probably all off. And he's like, well, if you want, we can give you the vaccine right now. And I'm like, yeah, why not? And the nurse came in. She jabbed me like fucking 3 or 4 times with three or four different vaccine. And I was like, thanks, have a good day. And I left. And like, and I was thinking about that. And I was like, seriously, like, am I really gonna fall prey to fear about a vaccine? If it kills 1% of people, well, I'm not gonna be in that 1%. Like, who cares? I'm a fucking strong man, and my faith is stronger. And if I should not have this vaccine, then my heart will tell me. If I'm having it at some point and it's aligned with where I'm going, it means I'm gonna be fine. And then we had this discussion, me and Jimmy, and we really like smashed that that shit bubble that was around us. And I feel so good, man, today. And I know I'm talking a lot, but seriously, like it's been 2 months. I'm bathing in that shit energy. And finally yesterday, we found out what was going on. We and the timing is so funny. We're literally leaving tomorrow our environment to change, to go in another place where we can just start fresh with that new energy. And then knowing that in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, we're gonna be on a plane to Italy. And then like that's I'm amazed at how it can change when you just listen to your heart and when you trust the process with faith. That's I'm just so happy, man. So happy. I hate that feeling. I hate the feeling of being misaligned, not knowing what I want to do, where I want to go, because it hurts everything else in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It literally hurt everything. I'm not motivated for anything. If I'm not aligned on the long term, my medium term is gonna start being shit, and then my short term is gonna start being shit, and then my present's gonna start being shit if I'm not long term aligned.
I think
And
I
then
think
I was
long
not
term. I think
motivated
long
for
term line.
anything.
You're still. I think long term doesn't change. Well, I think it's medium term and short term that change, and this is what misalign you. I think your long term you still see it, but it's almost like you don't see the short term, medium term that brings you to the long term. It's almost like there is a disconnection, and it's funny because
Hmm.
it's linked to a
Yeah,
thing
you're
that I
right.
wanted to talk about, which is resilience that is linked to that, and when do you give up? And I'm gonna explain why. It's because sometimes you go through stuff, and we have learned, whether through experience or whether through the media, whether through whatever, that life is pain. You know, and depending on what you have lived in your life, it's obviously, if you have lost someone, if you have been struggling with money, if you have struggled with, I don't know, businesses, with friends, with stuff, with family problems, with, I don't know, anything, with dependencies and all that. I believe that you have a resilience that is higher than I will say most of the people. And it's funny that sometimes I feel like we like to go through, sure, the process, trust the process, but it's almost like we like to go through this chemin de croix. I don't know how to say that in French, but basically
The hero's journey.
hero's journey, Jesus, no, not sure. Sorry. Basically the road of the cross, which is the
Yeah, the suffering
from
way,
the
like the
suffering
suffering
basically
path.
that you have, like, that it's come from the Bible, because this is where it's coming from, right? But Jesus, like, went with a cross on the mountain to put it, and then this is where it was crucified. And it's almost like we have this thing where we have to go through this thing, and we have to be resilient through this thing, because this is where we're gonna see the end of a road and be delivered. But I wonder, first of all, like, where does this, is it really a resilience, or is it just false belief? And second is, when do you give up? Because
I'm gonna
generally,
tell you
what
straight.
you did right now is basically giving up of his thing, because you noticed that it was not the right type of suffering in a certain way. It was a suffering that was not bringing anything, so you gave up on that, and then you kind of delivered yourself from another way.
I would say I have two answer, and I'm not sure. Well, I think both are true, but on different level. I would say the highest answer is that there should be no suffering, because suffering is created by you.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say there should be no suffering, is that like the highest possible form of living would be to always be aligned with your heart. And when you have faith that wherever you go is where you must go, where you're destined to go, where you go for your highest benefit, then whatever would happen on that path, if you have that anchor of faith,
Yeah.
it would just come up to you as a normal step on your way. and
True.
then and then it would just, you would accept it with
Yeah.
less suffering.
It's bearable, but it's still suffering.
Yeah. So then after that, well, it depends, because pain and suffering is different. And for me, I think that suffering is simple. Like, I think the proof of that is people who like pain. There's people that you can snap with with a stick and they're like, oh yeah, yeah, I like that. So like, but other people, you'd be like, you snap and he's like, what the fuck, like, ouch. And then so the pain is just inside of you, not the pain, the suffering. It's like you decide what is suffering for you, and you react to as accordingly, like to suffering. um, but I would say that the real answer, the first answer that came to me when he said that was, when do you know if you should be resilient and continue through some resistance, or when to give up? Is when it all depends on if you are on the right path of your heart. If you are not, that's where you should give up. If you are on the right path and you're aligned, there may be some resistance at some point, but I do believe it would not be endless resistance. It could be a temporary test, let's say, like a little test from life, to just see if you're ready to go to the next step in your path. And by going through it with faith, but you will all, if you listen properly, you will always know, because you will ask yourself, going there through that resistance, will it bring me to where my heart's telling me to go? If yes, then you go through. If not, that's where you're pushing in a wall to go somewhere where that's not where you should be going. That's what I think.
Yeah, but that's really hard to identify.
Um, we're not talking about if it's hard or not. I'm talking
No, I know.
about, I think that's what it is. Yes, it's hard.
No, but it's because what I mean is that it's not an easy thing to do. Like, I mean, it's it's not. I
I
know.
will tell you, for me, what's the hardest. It's learning the language of the heart.
Yeah.
It's the hardest. It's like learning, tomorrow you want to start learning Creole, or like any other language that you have no clue about it.
No, you know that I found my really I can finally put a name on my purpose this weekend when I was running. And I think it's because I was doing a boring run, and it's based on the last weeks and everything.
Oh, tell me.
I leave. I mean, I leave. Yeah. No, I leave.
Live.
Yeah, leave to leave experience to leave and craft experiences.
That's the highest possible form of living, in my opinion.
Because that's my I notice that in my jobs when I noticed two things. First of all, I'm super happy when I try new things. I'm not saying that I'm good at it. We had this discussion this weekend with a friend of mine, and I want to try to do a lot of things. I want to try to do the surf. I want to try to, I don't know, going on zero gravity. I want to, learn other languages and all that. And I tried different languages, like I tried Japanese, Russian. I tried, I did some German. Right now I talk approximately like four languages, but I tried also other stuff like blacksmithing, carpentry. My father was a construction worker, so obviously I tried like stuff, and I love that. And right now I want to try surf, and I was thinking like, and it's funny because it's like I've almost like what you said. I listened to my heart in the last weeks, and this is why I'm comparing to resilience and to giving up maybe, and to listening due to your story. And this is what I discovered, because even in my job, what I like is craft experiences for people. It's being able to craft an experience where people are going to be happy to live it.
Hmm.
Um, but then I was thinking about this thing where it's like, how do you know it's resilience? Because you need to go through it. A bit like when we were saying, when we are traveling, you're waiting for the travel, so you have to move. So you have this period where you're uncomfortable and everything. And so once you reach it, it passed, and you're like, okay, this is why I went through that. You turn back and you're like, okay, this is I should trust the process, because I know this is for that. This is the end result that I get. When it's the moment that it's not resilience, you have kind of this moment where you say, okay, I'm giving up on that, because this is not the right thing for me. and I decide to do something else. Because I believe that when you reach that moment that you're capable to say, I'm giving up, exactly what you did this weekend. So, at a certain point, and yeah, you're right, in a certain way, you don't like to be like that, but I believe that you needed to be like that for that amount of time to finally say, this is not the right way. I'm giving up on this way of being. Now I need to find a way of being better. And this is the moment in your head that it's almost like a click that comes in, and suddenly you put your mindset into, now I want to listen to myself. Now I want to be better. I don't want to be in this situation anymore. I don't want to be like that anymore. I had enough. And this thing about adding enough, having enough. When is it? And it's this thing that I don't know, because I talk with my friend about different things. Whether it's relationship, whether it's. I said to him like, I said to one friend particularly is that I said to her like, you didn't have enough yet. You're not at that point yet where you're capable of saying to yourself, I'm done. I'm done with that. So right now you will not succeed in saying I'm done, even if you want it, because you didn't have enough. And when I said that after today and yesterday, I was thinking about it also. I was like, when do you have enough? When is it enough? When do you notice it's enough? Is it based on resilience? Is it based on your experiences? Is it based on what people tell you? What it is that, even if you know that you listen to yourself, what made you suffer during 2 months? Because it's really bad. You suffered during 2 months until this weekend that you had this talk with Jamie. So what made you like go through that during 2 months?
And that's also I'm also clueless on that, because yeah, so basically one thing is important is that you say a lot of the time like, when do you know, or like how do you
Yeah,
know? The thing is, you always know. You always know.
but you don't.
It's not about knowing.
You always
No,
know,
it's
but
not
you
about
don't.
knowing. It's that's kind of that's kind of the trap. That's kind of the easy. It's like how to. It's a little bit like, in a weird way. It's a little bit a, a victimization. It's like deresponsabilization of it. It's easy just say, well, but I don't know. Like I just don't know. But the real, I've lived enough of these moments and of these answers that I receive from my heart to understand that you always know. The information is always there. It's always there. The thing is not about knowing. The thing is about listening and acting. You always know. Any question that you have, if you close your eyes and you shut up all the noise and you just ask the question and you listen, you're going to have the straight answer right away. After that is, do you listen to the answer and do you act on that answer? Do you go and do the action that are necessary for that answer to be real? And but yeah, like that's like the theory, right? And then in practice, I spent 2 months not knowing what the fuck was going on. Like that's and saying, I don't know what's going on with me. I'm trying to, but that's all bullshit. That's you bullshitting yourself, because and it's a bit lazy in a way, because you just don't want to sit and face this problem that's in front of you. And for me, it's a lot linked with guilt. And I'll explain why. It's because I told Jamie that yesterday in our discussion. I said, I always feel like every time that I have this moment of uh, like eureka moment, or like that I know, and I get myself aligned with what I want to do, and I know what's going on, and I do it, and for months and months it goes super well. All in that time, I feel that I've reached it. I feel that I'm like, that's amazing. I'm aligned. I know what to do. I'm good at it. My power is so high. I do magic tricks in my life. I feel so good, and I feel that I've reached that comprehension, that wisdom. And then every time I lose it, it hurts me. It's like, why? And I just, if I can so easily fall into that spinning wheel of why did it change? Why was I feeling so powerful and now I feel so powerless? Why I had all the answer and now I don't know what the fuck to do? Why? And I just keep and if I feed that scheme of thought, if I feed that, I'm just gonna go down that hole of being sorry for myself, not knowing why, and trying to find the answer, and saying, oh, I don't know what's going on, and blah blah. And then everything, it's a spinning wheel. Everything's gonna be worse. I'm not gonna be motivated to train anymore, so I'm not gonna train. Then my body is gonna become less good, and then because of that, my mind's gonna be less good, because if you don't have a healthy body, your mind will be affected. And
Yeah.
like, it's just all spins and spins and spins. And if you don't put your foot on the ground, if like like I don't have an answer to your question, because I haven't found it really. I don't know. I still don't know why I keep going through these periods of weeks and months of not knowing, when I can know. I know I can know. I know that I can have the answer if I want them. And I still fall prey to this doubt and fear. And my answer to that is just compassion. When I turn around and when I, I, I get out of there and I come back to feeling well, I just tell myself I'm human. It is probably a normal process that I cannot escape. And if I can escape at some point, I will. I know I will. But if I'm bound to have, if it's the normal way of experiencing life, I'm gonna go through it. And you have to have that little light at the end of the tunnel that's always there inside of you, that you need to have that faith that when you are in these moments, even if on the surface everything seems weird and you don't know what's going on and you feel bad and everything, if you have that faith, it's gonna be like so deep inside of you that at the end of your scheme of thought, you're always gonna end up to, I know it's gonna be well at some point. I know that I'm gonna rise out of that at some point. I know that the answer will come to me at the right place at the right time. And this is my anchor. This is how I live. I'm so grateful to have this anchor of faith inside of me, faith in life, faith in myself, faith in, because whenever we always see that thing about that analogy of like life is like a beating heart on a cardiogram. It's like up and down and then like that, like up and down and then like that. And when it stops going up and down, that's where you're dead. So that's why I say I don't know. Maybe it's part of life to have these moments of down, which makes you appreciate the moments where you feel better. But it's important to not fall into the trap of thinking that you need like the same amount of those.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a full year of amazingness and have a week of down and come back into another week, another year of amazingness. You don't need 6 months and 6 months. And that's a trap that people can fall into. And I
And
did.
it can be the way around also.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. uh, yeah, I just feel really good now.
That's good.
And whatever happened in front, when you know you're aligned and you're following your heart, it kind of doesn't matter what happens.
But yeah, I think it's linked also, to be afraid of the future and everything. Because most of the fear are not fear of the present. It's fear of
Hmm.
the future. It's not what if.
To-
The famous what
Totally.
if, and the prime with what if is you don't want the what if most of the time.
Is that there's a million different way that your future can unfold. So if you just focus on what if one of the possibility and you build a fear out of it, what about the million other ones? Like, what if you would be focusing on the one that is perfect?
Yeah.
You would not have fear, right? That's what I told to Jamie. I'm like, I believe in the 1%. I believe strongly in the 1%. And what I mean by that is I don't give a shit about everything that you read, all the restriction, the laws, the this and that, and whatever. If there's 99 people that's gonna be stopped at the border for some reason, and there's one person that's gonna have the perfect condition, the right agent, someone's gonna turn around, let's see you, whatever can happen. I'm gonna be that person. So I don't give a shit about the rest. I believe in the 1%. And that's how for me I open the door to, by having that faith, I feel that I open all the doors for life to give me the best I can have by not having any kind of limits to how life should give me what I want or what I need. And because if you just, yeah, yeah, I believe in the 1%. And it's not about being special. It's about positioning yourself to benefit from that.
I'm fucking special.
And yeah, we're all fucking special.
Fucking awesome. What are you talking about? This
We're
is what I
all
think.
fucking
Every day I say that. You see, like the mirror in my bathroom. I say that each time I get out of the shower. Yeah. You have to be
and
your biggest fan. If you're not your biggest fan, talk to you as you will talk to your friends. It's
who's
it's the
gonna
guy.
be?
Yeah, it's the guy. I saw
Hmm.
that, and it's funny. It's the guy from Prison Break. He said he was doing a talk, and he said this thing which was really good. He was like, when I was talking to myself, I was like, obviously, you piece of shit, you didn't succeed in doing that. And he said, this is what I was talking to myself. And then he was like, but when I'm speaking to a friend, I don't say that. I say, no, it's okay, because, I've improved compassion. It's like, you should be your first friend first, and she shouldn't talk to you like that. And it's exactly that. Yeah, I'm awesome. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that you have to find me awesome. Just saying I'm finding myself awesome, which is not the same thing.
it's I have a way of explaining it, and I wrote it in my little text. You remember the Le Vase du Bonheur, the
Yeah.
pot of happiness? So I just realized one day that it's exactly what you just said. Why would you talk to yourself in a way that's bad, but then when a friend comes to you and tell you about his problems or what's going on, you say like, no man, like you're just human, like everything's gonna be fine, like don't worry, you're gonna rise out of it, whatever. But then when you talk to yourself, you're like, you're like, it's always happening to you, you're a piece of shit, you're not gonna succeed, like all that bullshit. Is because most people don't understand that you're not only one thing, you're two things. You're a minimum of two things. Two. Your soul and your body. Like call it whatever you want. Okay. So the first relationship you have in life is with yourself. You are two person call it like the way you want to call it. You are in relationship with you, and how you talk to yourself affects your relationship with yourself. Just think about a loving relationship. Do you really think that you would thrive in a relationship, or that the person, your lover, would thrive in a relationship where she makes a mistake or he makes a mistake and you're like, you piece of shit, you're not enough, you always do only wrong thing and everything, and you just like welcome them like that every day? Man, that would not work at all. You would not thrive. It would be a total mess. Well, that's exactly what it is. You have a relationship with you, and not only that, it's gonna be all your life you're gonna have a relationship with you. So you better have a good one. You better have a great one. That's why not? Like, you're gonna have that all your fucking life. So tell yourself that you're amazing. Be compassionate like you would be with a friend. That's so true, because you have to nurture that relationship so that you to you will be an empowering relationship. You're gonna build yourself to be better and to be happier by yourself.
Yeah.
You're you that you're talking to you inside of you. If you give him love and compassion, and you have faith in their abilities and whatever, it's gonna give it back that to you. It's gonna give that back to you. It's how it works. I love that you're going in the mirror and you're telling yourself that you're amazing. That's
Oh, I talked also to myself harshly, but because it's the way I am also. I know the way I work, so that's the thing. It's not necessarily just loving words and just I don't
no,
like
you have to
the
be true.
I don't like the but no, you're perfect. No.
No. And I don't want you or people to think that's what I'm saying. You have to be real. You have to be
Yep.
authentic, and but never forget the compassion, because you have to. Let's say you do something really bad. You have to go in the mirror and say, that was an awful decision. That was an awful action. That was wrong. You did it. Now you have to face it. But don't don't beat yourself up because thing like that happened, because nothing good's gonna get out of it. You have to be real to yourself, but after that you have to say, now that's said, that's done, how can we do better? And you're only human, it happens. But remember that you failed, so that you take better decision in the future. It's not
Totally.
about hiding and just like you say, like, no, everything's fine, you're perfect, you never did anything wrong. No, that's not about that at all. It's about doing saying the real thing, being
Yeah.
authentic, being naked with your own self.
Yeah. Totally. And I think we're gonna finish on that. It's a perfect ending.
Yeah, be naked with your own self.
Exactly. Cool, man.
Hmm.
It was. I think that's good that you talked about it. I think it's good that you were open about it. It's a good thing
Yeah,
because it sounds that in
I,
every
I
every episode we're a bit like, oh yeah, everything is perfect in our life, and because we are so understanding about everything that is happening and so aware and so. No, we are also human. So it's
oh
good that
yeah,
you talked about that. It's
yeah.
really good.
And I really, really felt that I was drifting randomly in the abyss, like for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I hate that feeling. And yes, I'm human. Even if I feel so powerful sometimes, I also feel so powerless sometimes. But I accept it. I accept it. And I'm glad I talked about it. Thanks for listening, man. I know I talked a lot in this one, but I
Oh,
think
it's good.
I
That's a,
had
that's a
to
good one.
to
That's a good one. Don't worry.
I had to get it out. And that's what it's all about, these discussion, man. At the beginning, I started that to have a talk with my friend. I would have had the same discussion on the phone, and that's why I love it. It's so real. It's so naked.
We'll see if we share a pizza in Italy.
I hope, man. I hope, because I told Jamie, I said, now that we know that we're going to Italy, I don't give a fuck
Anyway, you
if
were coming to
we,
Europe, so obviously I will see you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but that's what I said. I said, it doesn't matter where, like, what's going to be the steps to reach Italy, because we know that's where we're going. Maybe we're going to have a news 1 week before leaving that they remove the quarantine in Canada, and that we're going to go and stop and do a 2 week there to see my family, and then go back, and maybe we'll even stop in Spain. Who knows? Or if we go straight to Italy, I'm going to tell Phil to come, because there's no way that I'm not seeing Phil if I'm in Europe. And but I just know, like, we were literally making plans to go to Guatemala. We were telling everyone that we will be going to Guatemala.
It's
And
okay.
then and yesterday I said, you know what?
Plans are
We're
made to
not
be
going to
changed.
Guatemala.
It's okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
Cool, man.
a that's a good episode.
Thanks for the talk.
Yeah, thanks to you.
And as usual,
Oh yeah, that's me before. Well, not only you have to be naked with your own self, but you have to always remember to be yourself fully, and to have fun, because fun is one of the best way to get out of these shitty feelings. The more you do things that you like, the more it will pump you out of that feeling. So by having fun, that's why I say that you have to be yourself, because that's the only thing you should be. And you have to have fun, because life is just about experiencing and having fun.
yep.
That's it.
See you next week.
See you next week.